Hello and welcome to the Wealth Wednesday show. We are super excited to have you join us tonight. Sincere apologies for the late start as we were encountering some technical issues, but we are glad to be here. Once again, thank you so much for taking your time to subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on notification, and as well watch our videos. We greatly appreciate your support. And today, being the Wealth Wednesday show, as usual, we get to discuss about topics that can help us generate an income that can lead us into building wealth. Remember, building wealth is not an overnight thing, it's a crock pot. It takes time, and you have to be consistent and know what you're doing. So, today in the house, we decided um, to do a topic that most of you have been requesting, and that is agribusiness. And we are super excited and honored to have an expert all the way from Zambia. Her name is Tracy, who is going to take us through agribusiness and tell us the nitty gritties that makes the agribusiness industry to actually be the largest contributor of GDP for most countries. So, as always, post in the comment, tell us a hi, where you're watching us from, as well as start posting your comment, your thoughts, your feedback, your questions right there in the comment section. So, without taking much of your time, allow me to give our guest speaker, Miss Tracy, the platform to introduce herself. Tracy, please feel welcome.
Thank you so much, Sheila. So my name is Tracy Kakalaki. I am an economist by profession, a co-founder and chief financial officer of Hematon Agro Services. Hematon Agro Services is an agro produce supply and marketing company in Zambia that works with small-scale farmers. So what we do is we provide education for farmers, and we also provide them with market linkages. Yeah.
Wow, that's super amazing. I've actually been following your work and I really got interested in what you do because you go to the grassroots farmers, which is not most people like doing. But from having followed your work, I have seen you even go to the farmers, you try to interact with them to get first-hand information about agribusiness. And I believe you have adequate knowledge since you are hands-on. I can see quite a number of people are joining us. I can see we have Michael. He he's saying my CFO doing the most. Let's go agro. Absolutely. We see Orent Mwimba. Thank you so much for watching. We can also see we have Henry who has joined us. Thank you so much for your support, and we are super grateful. So Tracy, this agribusiness thing, it has been like um, there has been a lot of farmers whom we call telephone farmers, and there has also been the real farmers. However, the real farmers are very, very minimum. Like, it's very hard to understand what is this agribusiness thing. Is it must I go to the farm and be holding the farm tools so that I can say I'm in agribusiness, or what would you define agribusiness in your own simple terms?
Hello, Sheila.
I believe we lost your connection. I was just asking, how would you define agribusiness in your own simple terms?
Okay, so in my simple terms, agribusiness is any agricultural venture or farming venture that generates income.
Ah,
So
okay.
it can
Mhm.
so it can be in the form of you selling seed. It can be in the form of you actually growing the seed or buying the seed. and growing it and applying it to processing companies, or actually selling it to the market as well. That's agribusiness. So long as you are generating income in that space, it's called agribusiness.
Okay. And you've profoundly defined what agribusiness is, and I believe any person, including a layman who is not doing agribusiness but interested, is able to know what it really means, because it sounds like a jargon. Agribusiness, it sounds like a very, very unique thing to be done, but I am so happy that you've just been able to demystify that. And Tracy, how does it work? Because there has been a lot of confusion uh, in this agribusiness industry. How does it work?
So agribusiness has no specific way of working. So it actually takes the space of what product you are actually producing in the agriculture space. So it all depends on supply and demand. So it can be, let me give an example of Hematon. So for Hematon, what we do is we are in the supply sector. We actually grow the crops with our farmers, and after harvest, we supply to our takers, be it processing companies or milling companies or chain stores. So that's how it works. So there's no specific way of it working. So it can be someone actually venturing into poultry farming. You can be keeping chickens, and you keeping those chickens and selling them to the market. That's how it works for you. So long as you are generating income, I'll go back to my definition of agribusiness. So long as you're generating income in that space,
Mhm.
it's called agribusiness and it works for you.
All right. You've just mentioned that it depends on what you do, again, depending on demand and supply. Someone who is doing poultry farming is considered to be doing agribusiness. Even that person who has a kitchen garden, he or she is considered to be doing agribusiness, only that maybe it's in small scale um, uh, category. Now, I'm just thinking, do we have types of agribusiness, or just anything falls under the whole name?
So we have different types of agribusiness. So we have what we call those that are in the supply of seeds. So that's a type of agribusiness as well. So we have those that are specialized in the supply of machinery. We have those that are supplied in the supply of herbicides, pesticides, or fertilizer. Those are the types of agribusiness.
Hmm. Okay, and even like as you just mentioned, like based on the specialization of a person, and I think even those people who are how do you call them, cattle farmers, the ones who do dairy farming or goat keeping, they are also considered to be in agribusiness. And do you think, because there has been a lot of, I don't want to say a bubble, but we've seen quite a number of people, due to the pandemic, they have lost their formal employment, and most people have been pushing or asking them, why don't you try uh, venturing into agriculture? Why don't you, get into agribusiness? Now, do you think that agribusiness is important in our current economy, and why?
Um, 100% yes. Agribusiness is very important in our current economy because it actually contributes to our GDP as an economy. Let me give an example of Zambia. It actually
Mhm.
contributes to our GDP, Another thing that I also always emphasize is the creation of employment for youths. We have so many youths out there, so many graduates that are not doing anything. And agriculture is actually there to actually create employment for our youths. So most youths have actually joined the agribusiness sector, like myself. I'm not an
Mhm.
agriculture graduate or student or anything, but I'm an economist
Mhm.
graduate. So I'm an economist by profession, but I am in the agriculture sector. So it created employment for me. So I'm trying as a company, what we're trying to do is actually create employment as well. So apart from that, it actually contributes to the food basket of our economies. So what we need to eat every day. We need to eat maybe 2, 3 times a day. So
Mhm.
agriculture is actually contributing to that. That's the importance of it.
Now, you've mentioned a very important point that youths need to start considering agriculture as a way of creating employment. Now, and you said like in Zambia, agriculture contributes to a larger percentage of your GDP, and this gets me thinking: what's the main crop that's grown, or what type of agribusiness is measured in your in Zambia?
Can you just repeat that? I can't get you with my network. If you could just repeat that.
No problem. As I was just asking, which is the major type of agribusiness that has been ventured into in Zambia?
I would say we have, like I mentioned, we have different types. So we have, because of the demand in Zambia at the moment for agriculture, we're actually
Mhm,
exporting. So I would say seed companies are also doing their part as well. So I would say we are producing maize for export as a country. So I would say
mhm,
we are also doing that as well. So, but
mhm,
the main one that I would say is seed companies and manufacturing companies.
mhm. And what's your view about these processed foods? Because we live in a world that is ever changing, and we've seen a lot of people considering processed foods compared to um, the organic ones due to, let's say, in the first world, due to lack of time. Example, you'll find someone, they better consume canned beans instead of having to boil beans for 6 hours. Now, what is your view on that, and how does it affect agribusiness?
So I would say I think both ways work. We have it actually depends on what your preferences are. So we have people
Mhm,
that actually prefer boiling the beans. I prefer boiling my beans. So we have others that prefer buying the processed beans. So it all depends on what preference you have. So I might
mhm,
say somebody depends on this, or maybe they would prefer
mhm,
the boiled beans like myself, or they would prefer
mhm,
something for breakfast, maybe the canned beans. So it actually depends
mhm.
on what your preferences are as a person.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something at the start that you actually encourage the youth to consider agribusiness in as much as they did not learn agribusiness in school, giving an example of yourself being an economist by profession, but doing agribusiness. Now, how does one get started, or how did you start your journey? Maybe you can inspire someone who's watching us out there and they're like, oh no, I did engineering. I'm not catered for agribusiness.
Of course. So,
Mm-hmm,
well, I'm privileged enough to have a wonderful co-founder. So my
Mm-hmm.
co-founder is actually an agriculture specialist. He actually did agriculture in university. So for myself, he actually encouraged me to actually come into the sector. So I have been learning
Mm-hmm.
throughout the process. So I'm not an expert, but he has been teaching me because he's an expert in that. So
Mm-hmm.
what I would encourage other youths is find what you're passionate about. If it's agriculture, if you are passionate about agriculture, try and do some research about it. There are so many different types of agribusiness or ventures that you can go into agriculture. So just do your research, find something that you're passionate about, and then do more research again, and actually try to venture into it. You can actually find better ways of doing something. There might be something out there that's being done that you can find out or have a better way of actually doing it.
Absolutely. There's this proverb or saying that says, "Where there is a will, there is a way." So, just as you said, you were passionate about agriculture, and you are so blessed to have a co-founder who is a specialist. So it's been an easy learning journey for you, and I think that is what our youths or everyone who is interested in agribusiness should consider doing. Just start, then get learning along the way. And again, the best thing, we are in the informational we are in the information technology season where you can access any information anywhere, anytime. So that's a great point you've highlighted there. So Tracy, we've seen agribusiness as one of the backbone of many economies. But again, we have the issue of climate change. Now, what's the future of agribusiness?
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So the future of agriculture, I would say, is youth. I think I always emphasize on this. The future of agriculture are the youths. We, the youths, are
Mhm,
actually the future of agriculture. We're actually capable of coming up with great techs in agriculture. I would actually say technology is the future of agriculture, but who is actually
mhm,
coming up with those great technologies? It's us, the youths. So what we're doing,
mhm,
just yesterday, I saw a great app. Someone tagged me and said, there's an app that's in South Africa. They're actually
mhm,
they place all types of agribusiness on that app. So as a farmer, if you
mhm,
have a smartphone, you can actually access
mhm,
that app and actually
mhm.
order yourself some seeds, some herbicides, some machinery, and they'll deliver it to you. That's actually smart. And that's
Yeah.
actually something that was done by someone who's not in agriculture, somebody who did
Mhm,
computer science. So that's smart.
mhm,
So that and the
mhm,
person is actually the youth. So I would
mhm,
say youth are actually the future of agriculture. Once we venture into agriculture, we're going to bring in smart ideas. So most
mhm,
companies wouldn't actually hire a youth or somebody younger. Let me give an example
mhm,
of myself. If I were to
mhm,
apply to an agriculture company as young as I
mhm,
am, so
mhm,
I am 25. If I applied to an agriculture company as an economist or a CFO, a chief financial officer, I'm sure they would
mhm,
pick somebody who has been in the field for 10 years. But what
mhm,
those agriculture companies don't know is we have the great ideas. So what we
mhm,
should do is try and hire maybe somebody younger and somebody older and give them actually a platform to give their voice
mhm,
and give you great ideas. Because what we have is we have so many people who are in homes. They're not doing anything, but they have the mindset, they
mhm,
have the good ideas. But if we give them a chance to actually speak up, we would
mhm.
actually change the agriculture sector. So we are the future of agribusiness.
Wow, I love how you've put it. Actually, I totally concur with you. The fact that we need to match or create equity in terms of age when it comes to hiring in the agricultural sector, because a young person will bring the current vibe that is going to change the future, and the older one will bring the experience. So both of them will correlate to bring up a product that is way better as compared to one of them working as a sole person or sole proprietor. Now we'll take a break and read some of the comments here. I can see there's a lot of people who've joined us. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. Um, Orient is saying Zambia's future lies in agriculture. Actually, it's the world's future lies in agriculture, because this pandemic made us know that most of the things can be put on hold, but food cannot be put on hold. And we even
Exactly.
saw a lot of balcony gardens, kitchen gardens popping up due to the multiple lockdowns that most countries had to face. Then you have Silas Kamala Wafula. He's saying, "Great Sheila, thank you." We also still Orange is saying, "I'm learning here. This is really helpful to the small scale farmers who've been abandoned in some way." We're gonna get to that. Crispin Chula Jr., you're saying following Let's Go Agro. Absolutely. You know, actually, Tracy, people think agribusiness is getting your hands dirty, being covered with mud all the time. And we are this generation that likes to look fancy, fancy all the time. So, what would be your advice? Because you see, you are in the industry, and honestly, you are fabulous. If you tell someone you are, about farming and all that, someone will be like, no. So what would you say about that? Should we change our mindset, or it's the way it is?
Can you just repeat that, Sheila? I'm having network challenges here.
No problem. I was just saying, based on one of the comments we saw here, following Let's Go Agro, most people, especially us the youths, we think that agribusiness is about getting dirty and muddy all the time in gumboots and apron farming. But and then we are a generation where we like to look fancy and all glamorous. What should you say? Do we need to change our mindset, or that is the real deal we're gonna get when you get into agribusiness?
I think the first thing we should do is change our mindsets because
Mhm,
most youths have spoken to actually think agriculture is actually for the elderly or people that have retired. Yes,
mhm,
agriculture will make you get dirty and
mhm,
actually do the work, but that's where the money is.
mhm,
Agriculture has so much money, and I'm sure if I were to tell someone this is where the money
mhm.
is and give you actually um uh, proposal or show you something that will give you the money, I'm sure the youth would actually join. But what I would say is we need to have a change of mindset as youths because if we
Mhm,
keep on looking for the white collar jobs, we're not actually going to get them because agriculture has
mhm.
always been there and I'm sure it would do a great deal for most youths.
Absolutely. And due to the interest of time, we are going to get into the next episode of this show. And this is where we are going to, think about farmers. Now we have known what agribusiness is, how you can get there. Now, what marketing advice would you give to that farmer who is struggling with selling his or her farm produce? Because growing crops or seeds is one thing, and then getting the market is another thing. So what advice would you give to such a farmer, especially the small scale farmers?
Sorry, Sheila, can you please repeat that again?
No worries, my dear. I was saying, what advice would you give to a small scale farmer who is struggling to sell his produce, especially those people who are just starting out in agribusiness? I believe we have lost the connection again. Um, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I was just asking what advice or what marketing advice would you give to a farmer, especially the small scale farmers, um, uh, who is struggling to sell his or her produce?
So, can you get me, Sheila?
Yes, I can hear you properly.
Okay. So the first thing I would say is join Hematon. So look for Hematon, search for it, and join Hematon because that's actually what we do as a company. We find
Mhm,
market for our farmers. But for those
mhm,
that wouldn't want to join the Hematon family of farmers, I would say research because the most difficult thing that our farmers go through at the moment is market. So do
mhm,
your research first. Find out what kind of produce is in deficit in the market.
mhm,
There will always
mhm.
be a manufacturing company that will need you to produce something for them. So there are so many
Yeah.
manufacturing companies out there, but do your research. Find out what exactly they need. Go to the
Mhm.
markets. Find out what horticultural crops they
I'm really sorry. We have lost our guest speaker. Her name is Tracy, and she's the co-founder of Hematon Agro Services Limited, which is in Zambia, and she is an economist by profession, but she has been in the agribusiness industry for quite a long time together with her co-founder. Before we lost her, we were just discussing on how um, that small scale farmer who is struggling to sell his or her produce, or that person who has just gotten into the has gotten into this agribusiness industry, how can they market their products so that they don't end up wasting or having wasted products? Tracy, welcome back. I hope now you're
Thank you
able
so
to
much.
hear. Yeah, we had lost you. Just go on from where you left.
Hello, Sheila.
Yes, go on from where you left. Are you able to hear me?
Hello, Sheila. Can you hear
Hello,
me?
can yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Hello?
I hello, can you hear me? Again, I think we are experiencing network issues. Tracy is joining us all the way from Zambia, and she is the co-founder of Hematon Agro Limited, which is an organization that is focused on creating awareness about agribusiness as well as taking care of farmers and helping them sell their produce. Tracy, are you able to get me right now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, you were talking about how farmers can market their produce. Maybe you can pick it up from there.
Okay. So maybe I'll start from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So for a farmer that's actually struggling to market their produce, the first thing I would say to them is join Hematon. And for those that wouldn't want to join the Hematon family of farmers, I would say do your research first. because that's the biggest issue that we have on the market out there for our farmers. And that's why Hematon was created as a company to actually provide the marketing services or to provide them with a market for their produce. So what you should do is actually, I always emphasize on this, do your research as a farmer. Before you grow anything, do not just grow something because your neighbor or a farmer that you know is actually growing that. Do a
Yeah.
research, go out there, find processing companies, milling companies, chain stores, or go to the markets and find out what they actually need. Everything out there is actually needed, but you have to find the right market for it. So what you can do is do your research as a farmer, um, find the right produce, and then grow it. That would be easy for you, just like that. You just have to do your marketing or your research so well.
And I totally agree with you, Tracy, the part of research first. Because I have seen, especially on Facebook, someone goes and harvest very beautiful tomatoes, and they say like, this is my harvest. And you, because you are not you've just seen a good photo, you decide that, let me just get into this tomato business because maybe I already have sorry about that. Tracy, I was saying, I totally agree with what you are saying about doing research before getting into agribusiness, because I've seen a lot of people, especially on Facebook, they see a nice photo of a farmer who has done his or her research, has harvested maybe her tomatoes, has posted there and said agribusiness is the way to go. And then you, just because you have some land or you have a nice balcony, you decide to do the same. And when you harvest, you end up having tomatoes with nowhere to take them. And so I think researching should be the first thing. You need to research and know what your product, what market your product will be fulfilling or satisfying. Allow me to read some of the few comments here. We have Michael, who is saying, this is amazing, proud of you lots. Agriculture all the way, wash hands. Absolutely. We also have D Mata, he's saying, we want to be looking smart without money. Now we have known the source of money is agriculture. Absolutely. I can see Pastor Ken, you're saying you're enjoying. Thank you so much for tuning in. Godi, you're saying great job there. Sisters, thank you so much for joining us all the way from I believe it's UK or Malaysia. Then we have the Mata Network is jealous of this revelation. Correct. Nasguda, thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate your support. And yeah, I believe you are learning. You're saying this is a nice topic. Thank you very much. So back to what we were discussing. We've just lost our guest, as I mentioned. Tracy is joining us all the way from Zambia, and she is the CFO of this Hecomat, or yes, and this is an agri business company that is focused on helping farmers find ways of becoming digitized in their farming and helping them in their marketing, as well as things to do with agriculture. Now, Tracy, due to the interest of time, we are in the digital age, and everyone is going digital. So what are the current digital trends in business? Because everyone is interested in something that is digitized.
Okay. So worldwide, I would say I would actually mention drones. But at the moment, what's actually really working, and I would say the creation of apps, agricultural apps. So I've seen so many of those at the moment. I've seen uh, apps that actually tell you about the weather as a farmer. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
apps like the app that I mentioned earlier, an app
Mm-hmm.
that you have that will actually, you can order agricultural produce, you can
Mm-hmm.
order pesticides or seed. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say uh, apps are actually doing the most out there right now.
Wow,
Hello,
and
Sheila.
yes, I can hear you very well. You mentioned about the app in South Africa where a farmer is able to, order seedlings. They are able to order farming tools online and even to know the weather so that they can know what to plant and as well as be able to know about the marketing trends. Now, as we come to the end of the show, I would encourage our audience, if you have any question regarding agribusiness, feel free to post or write in the chat box that is available on your right side, and we shall be tackling the questions shortly. Now, Tracy, you mentioned something when you were starting, um,
Hello, Sheila.
that you can, yes, can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. The audio is a bit low.
Okay, I believe now you should be able to hear me. I'm just saying that,
Hello, Sheila.
you, hello. Um, I was just saying that as we come to the end of the show, um, earlier on you had mentioned that you, by profession, you are an economist. Oh my God, we've lost her. But as I was saying, Tracy, by profession, is an economist, but she is passionate about agribusiness, and therefore she decided to venture into agribusiness and take that path. And having seen her work online, she is doing an amazing job meeting with farmers around Africa and her country, Zambia, and trying to educate people about agriculture. Now, Tracy, I believe now you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, we are just coming to the end of the show, and my question is, you had mentioned you are an economist by profession and you ventured into agribusiness because you were passionate about it. What are the biggest lessons you've learned in your journey that you'd love the audience to hear?
So one of the biggest lessons that I learned is the importance of research in agriculture. So most of us
Mhm,
actually just venture into it because we've heard someone say there's actually so much money in this sector. But without doing the actual research or the groundwork. I remember when we
mhm,
started our company, I would actually, with my co-founder, we would actually move around in town. We would move around in Soweto. I'm sure
mhm,
people who met her, I'm sure they would say this girl used to move around looking something else. But we would move around, search, would find out what these people in Soweto actually need. So Soweto is a
mhm,
market in Lusaka.
mhm,
So what we do is find out the prices because you cannot just
mhm,
price something or make your own price. So
mhm,
uh, do your research. It's very important for you to do it in agriculture because you cannot just venture into something without knowing so much about it. So that's the
mhm,
biggest lesson I have learned. You have to do so much research and so much groundwork. You have to move around, find out which manufacturing companies need what, find out which
mhm,
processing companies, milling companies, or market, whatever people need out there. Just do your research.
mhm.
It's very important.
Wow. And as you just mentioned, you need to do your research very well, as that is like the key thing you need to have before you can venture into it. What is your thoughts about or what can farmers do to avoid the wastage that occurs, especially when they harvest perishable products? For example, I've seen there's a season where cows give a lot of milk, and farmers are not able to store that milk, or maybe the market is not able to consume all that milk. What would you advise such kind of farmers?
I would say go into processing. Processing will
Mm-hmm.
actually keep your produce longer than it's supposed to. So we usually have farmers that come on board. Maybe let me give an example of tomato farmers. Tomato is
Mm-hmm.
very is a perishable horticultural crop. So you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
just grow tomatoes without a market. And let me say, if you grow them without market, they'll surely go bad. So,
Mm-hmm.
which takes me back to doing your research, because once you do your research and you know who uh, your buyer or your off-taker is, you wouldn't have to go through all that. So your tomatoes will
Mm-hmm.
actually won't go bad, but you actually, once you harvest, you take them to someone. And also look at processing, like I mentioned, processing. You can actually process your tomatoes. You can make tomato paste. That will make them stay
Mm-hmm.
long. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. And Tracy, I would want us to continue on and on about this agribusiness thing. And I believe maybe in a few months' time we will get to do a follow-up session again, because there is so much we need to discuss about, and just let the audience know that agribusiness is something, in as much as it looks like glamorous, there are some things you need to have in place in order for you to really make it in such an industry. I can see we have a question. How can the youth be convinced to venture into agriculture, especially that most of our education system is kind of encouraging white collar jobs only?
Okay. So to answer that, I would say to that youth, please join the. We're going to have Hematon is actually planning a summit for youths. So we are
Mm-hmm.
going to actually visit the youth and educate them on that, on the agriculture sector. So we are going to have so many different topics in the summit. But again, you
Mm-hmm.
have to. I've seen so many agriculture summits. Try and
Mm-hmm.
join them. You know, with agriculture, you have to have the passion for it. So you cannot just convince every other person. You have to be
Mm-hmm.
passionate about it, you fail at it. So you also have to be passionate about it. So I would sit here and try to convince someone for hours, but they are not passionate about it and they do not see anything in agriculture. So I think I would say so many of us are looking for money. And
Mm-hmm.
agriculture is actually having that. Agriculture has so much money in it. If you joined it, you would actually get so much money, but you have to be so passionate about it. Without
Mm-hmm.
because if you are not, you're going to fail at it. You have to keep on wanting to learn, because agriculture is a learning process.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you. Passion is what will keep you going when things are not really working the way you expected, especially when you are getting into a new industry. As well as there's a point you mentioned about processing. I believe solutions to um, one of the solutions to avoid having drought seasons. I think if we can take or embrace processing, then we can take advantage of when we have huge harvest and we don't know where to take it. If we process it, we can use it in the years to come or the months to come when there is drought. Now, we just have to come to the end of this show. We believe we'll have to do another session because I see a lot of you still want to uh, get in touch and share your thoughts. And we are gonna try and see if we can do part two of agribusiness and get Tracy to come on board. So thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us. can help
Hello,
us,
Sheila.
maybe. Yes, I can hear you very well.
All right, okay. You can go on.
So as I was saying, God willing, we shall get to do part two of this topic, so that you can now get to discuss more on the research side of agribusiness. What are the parameters someone needs to consider or take into account before they can really get their hands on agribusiness? Now, until then, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to everyone that has commented, asked questions, given us your feedback. We really appreciate your support. And as we come to the end of the show, we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on notification, watch our videos. We've covered a lot of topics um, uh, that cover finances and business, as well as you will get to become financially literate by spending more time on the channel. Now, Tracy, as we are winding up, maybe you could share with us how people can get to know, to follow you, if they have questions, if they're interested in agribusiness, how can they access you?
So I'm on Facebook as Tracy Kakalaki. You can
Mhm,
also follow our Facebook page, Hematon Agro Services. I'm
mhm,
sure we have a contact and an email address there. If you have any questions, you can actually contact us. Send us,
mhm,
call us. The number there. You can send us an email. On
mhm.
LinkedIn, I have an account. I'm Tracy Kakalaki. We also have a Hematon LinkedIn page account. We also have an Instagram account as well. So you can get to us using any of the three. Hello, Sheila.
Oh my. Once again, sorry for the technical error. I hope our guests will be able to join in again. Uh, as we've had a hitch. Actually, it was coming from my side, and hopefully, she will be able to come back again and share with us her details on how you can contact her. But in case that's not possible, we will would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining in and tuning in. We really appreciate your support and all the comments and thoughts that you've shared with us. We are truly grateful. And you can always follow us on our Instagram at Financial Wellness Center, or visit our Facebook page, Financial Wellness Center, as well as check out our LinkedIn page, Financial Wellness Center, and most of all, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Financial Wellness with Sheila Mboga. Until then, we hope that this has been a very insightful session for you, and um, we will try our best to reach out to our guest again and get to do a part two of this topic, so that we can get to learn more um, be um, and be able to make well informed decisions. So until then, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support, and let's keep living financially healthy. We'll see you next Thursday. Thank you.